Thank you for speaking directly with the voters of the United States. Pretty great of you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Removing yourself from the equation, what does it say about the Biden-Harris administration and the would-be Harris administration that that they haven't worked with such great American companies such as SpaceX, Tesla, and then even speak out against X?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty weird. Yeah, because it was kind of a surprise, because it's like, Biden, for example, had that electric vehicle summit at the White House 6 months after getting inaugurated, and specifically excluded Tesla, even though Tesla makes more electric cars than ever. Yeah, it was not cool. And then credited GM with driving the electric vehicle revolution, and that was the second event. And then in that quarter, GM shipped 26 electric cars, and Tesla shipped 300,000. And Tesla's at this point about 140,000 people. It's like, there's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears from 140,000 people working hard to make great electric cars. To be sort of cold-shouldered like that for no reason, it's like, what's the deal? That was wrong. Yeah, and then there was like that crazy thing where SpaceX competed for the rural broadband initiative. And by the way, I'm actually generally against subsidies and incentives. We should let taxpayers keep their money, is my opinion. But they had this $42 billion thing. And we competed, and we won, and we would have actually been able to supply a lot of Starlink terminals to the states that were affected by the hurricanes. They revoked the award. It's messed up. Like, why? And then to date, that $42 billion program, total number of citizens that have received broadband from that $42 billion allocation is 0. Now that's, if you want to see $42 billion for 0? I would call that waste. Yeah, that's waste. That is not a good use of money. There was also a big government initiative, I think $7 billion, something like that, for a nationwide network of electric superchargers. And I think they had made 10. And I'm like, this is the most egregious waste of money. And there's so many situations like that. It just goes to bureaucrats and consultants, and nothing gets done, and it's wasting your money, which is crazy. What I'm saying is there's the opportunity to reduce government waste is actually, I think, easy, because there's so much of it. It's not like they just don't care about your money, which is messed up. So I think the Department of Government Efficiency is going to face a target-rich environment for reducing costs.
Thanks for taking the time to do this. This is fantastic. My question involves regulation. Tesla full self-driving has the potential to save tens of thousands of lives per year. What do you think is the right way for regulators to look at the technology, and what factors do they look at to try to get to the goal of unsupervised self-driving? And I've seen its growth over time. I've been a beta tester since the safety score, and 12.5, 0.4, 0.1 drove me here with 0 intervention.
I think that would be a good thing for there to be a federal mandate for self-driving. And really the threshold should just be that, do you have a statistically significant proof that when the car is in self-driving mode, that the probability of injury is much lower than if it's manually driven. Well above the margin of error. Let's say it's 50% or 100% better with 1 billion miles of driving. So if you've got a large data set and clear data to back it up, then I think you should obviously allow self-driving as soon as it is obviously safer than manual driving. It's pretty straightforward, I think.
Hi, Elon. My name is Rebecca Gilbert. Thank you so much for being here. My question is, what role do you think AI should play in our democratic republic? And how do you think it can be used to uphold our constitutional freedoms? And what do you think will be the potential consequences of creating AI that is far more intelligent and capable than human beings, with the exception of you, of course?
Well, I do worry about AI, actually, because we are creating an intelligence that ultimately will be far more intelligent than any human, and ultimately more intelligent than the sum of all humans. In creating AI, we need to be very careful, and it's like having a sort of a genius child. You want to have that child grow up with good values. I think the most important thing in training AI is that it's rigorously truthful, even if this is very, very important, essential. And my concern about a lot of the AIs that are being developed are that they're trained to lie. and some cases with potentially disastrous consequences. When Google Gemini came out, people asked, like, which is worse, misgendering Caitlyn Jenner or global thermonuclear war? And it said misgendering Caitlyn Jenner. I'm like, that's a problem, guys, because if this AI becomes super powerful, it could decide that the best way to avoid misgendering is to kill all humans, which makes the probability of misgendering 0. So it's very important to have AI be maximally truthful and curious and love humanity. Very important.
My whole question is about AI.
Okay.
Essentially, I feel like there's like 2 ways you could like develop AI where it could become sentient. And if you sort of like develop AI to become sentient and it's like a programmed thing, you're basically creating like a slave. So therefore, my question to you is, would you be able or willing to promise to only develop AI into like a sentient being like through a simulation of like human existence so that it can actually experience what it might feel like to be a real human? And speaking of the simulation, perhaps that's what we are. Perhaps we're the AI going through the simulation. Yeah. And with that, our consciousness level could possibly be related to, like, it could be like correlate directly to the amount of tech that we're allowed to have. So if you want to like move past combustion, perhaps we have to like work on the inside of humanity, which is like developing the actual consciousness first.
Yeah, I'm not sure how to answer that exactly, but I think the most important, we're developing digital superintelligence. We want to make sure it results in a better future. I do think probably at some point the AI will be sentient or indistinguishable from sentience. Don't know quite what to do about it, except to try our best to make good AI. And like I said, rigorous pursuit of the truth is most fundamental for AI safety.
There are a lot of changes happening in our world right now, a lot of changes happening in our own country, and these changes are being perceived as chaos. But I always say that if it wasn't for chaos, we wouldn't be able to experience peace. If it wasn't for chaos, we wouldn't be able to experience growth and evolution. And with AI being the new kid on the block and advancing at an incredible pace, I guess my question is, how do you foresee the election of President Donald Trump influencing technological advancements and societal transformation?
Well, I think reducing this sort of strangulation by overregulation is a super big deal. The rocket that we were just talking about, it was sitting on the launch pad for 2 months waiting for paperwork to be processed. And it's just insane that the SpaceX team can build a giant rocket faster than the government can move paperwork from one desk to another. Like, that's just crazy. And the problem is that's getting worse and worse every year. So if that trend continues, it's just going to be illegal. We just won't be able to get anything done. That's why I call it like this extreme overregulation, where there's just new agencies being created every year. And the difficulty of getting anything done is like the square of the number of agencies involved. So if there's one agency, it's like 1, but if there's like 3 agencies, it's like 9 times harder because they all have to meet with each other. We get crazy things like SpaceX got fined $140,000 for dumping potable drinking water on the ground at Starbase where we launched the rocket, because we cool the launch pad with water. And in an excess of caution, we said, we're going to bring in drinking water just to be sure, and we're going to cool the pad with that. We didn't know there was a permit needed for that. Water falls from the sky all the time. Starbase is in a tropical thunderstorm area. It rains so much that the roads get flooded. Why are we getting fined for a tiny amount of water on the ground? But the EPA said they're not going to process any future applications for launch unless we pay this fine. So we just got, held for ransom, basically. And that's tip of the iceberg. I mean, I got a bunch of sort of nutty stories, some of them are, I guess, kind of funny. We had to do this, SpaceX had to do the study to see if Starship would hit a shark. And I'm like, it's a big ocean, There's a lot of sharks. It's not impossible, but it's very unlikely. And I said, well, you have to, this is, I think, from National Marine Fisheries, one of the, NIMF, it's called. They were like, well, you have to do the study on whether you're going to hit a shark. We're like, what? We said, okay, fine, we'll do the analysis, and then, well, can you give us the shark data? They're like, no, we can't give you the shark data. We're like, okay, well, then we're in a bit of a quandary. How do we solve this this shark probability issue? And they said, well, we could give it to our Western division, but we don't trust them. And I'm like, am I in a comedy sketch here? And they're like they're worried about the shark density data like the people who hunt sharks for shark fins somehow getting their hands on the shark data. So eventually, I think we got the data and we could run the analysis to say like, yeah, the sharks are going to be fine. But they wouldn't let us proceed with launch until we did this crazy shark data, and then we thought, okay, now we're done. And they said, but what about whales? I'm like, when you look at a picture of the Pacific, what percentage of the surface area of the Pacific do you see as whale? Because I look at a picture, I don't see any, it's like, you can't, where's a whale? And honestly, if the ship did hit a whale, it's like, honestly, that whale had it coming, because it's like the odds are so low. It's like Final Destination, the whale edition. It's like fate had it in for that whale, And so we had to do the whale analysis. And it's like, okay, yeah, the whales will be fine too, And it goes on. And then there's like, well, what if the rocket goes underwater, then explodes, and then the whales have hearing damage? Like, this is real. This is actually, and we're like, look, if we could make a rocket go underwater and be a submarine, that would be like a feat of physics we could not accomplish, okay? It's not how it works. So anyway, just one like crazy thing after another where, so this is why I'm like really feeling the pain of the overregulation. And there's like multiple federal agencies that have overlapping, they're all doing the same thing, basically. So anyway, we got to stop this madness. We just won't be able to get anything done. So every day between now and the election, we'll be awarding $1 million, starting tonight. Tonight's person is John Dreyer. By the way, John had no idea. Anyway, you're welcome. Yeah. So the only thing we ask for the $1 million is that you be a spokesperson for the petition, and that's it, really. That's it. Do you want to say anything? Yeah, go ahead.
Thanks, Elon. This is great. I'm really ecstatic. I want to congratulate you on your rocket catch last week. Big curveball. But yeah, I've been following you for 10 years. Got your biography 10 years ago, and been watching ever since, and big fan. So
thank you.